What's up guys, my name is Jack, you're watching JBTCG, and today we're going to do a recap of all of my Pokemon investments for the year of 2024, and we're going to see how well did I actually do, and did I beat out the S&P 500 this year. And the way we're going to examine my investment growth over the year of 2024 is taking the prices of the products that I paid all throughout the year, all couple hundred products that I bought, and then I'm going to compare them to the current market value at the end of 2024. And before you guys get upset with me down in the comments, I'm taking the market price and then I'm subtracting the fees to calculate my percent growth. And the shipping price varies between products, so it's hard to factor it in, but you can guess that another 5 to 7% after the fees is going to be knocked off of the market value to get your final profits. And to make it so this video isn't 20 minutes long, I'm only going to be covering the notable sets with notable gains or notable lacks of gains. And without further ado, let's hop into it. We're going to start off with the product that has gained the least value for me this year. And this is Japanese 151 booster boxes. I know this seems like, what? You lost a bunch of money on Japanese 151? It's a great set. But at the beginning of the year, market value was around $200 to $210 a box. And I bought a couple. I think I bought actually 2 boxes above $200. Another 2 boxes at $190, and then I bought a couple more boxes within that $100 to $180 price range, which looking back on now is brutal. Market price right now is right around $95 for a box, and if you're curious, that's around 57% less than the price I paid for my most expensive box of Japanese 151. So I got hosed. And if you're curious, here is actually one of the boxes that I bought for $210. So this one is, I'm gonna keep honestly as a part of my collection just to be like, this box was my worst performing investment in 2024. Kind of as a meme, kind of just as a little funny memento, but I did manage to dollar cost average down really well with this set. So as we know, reprints came, I think in June, and the reprints were heavy. So prices dropped to around $50 a box. Now, obviously, some people didn't have access to it at $50 a box. You either needed connections from Japan or TikTok shop coupons, and some people didn't have access to either. So the average box was probably around $60 on secondary marketplaces like eBay. However, I did manage to pick up a bunch of boxes in the $45 to $50 price range, which I was super grateful for. And my actual dollar cost average across all of my Japanese 151 boxes for the year was around $85. And now I know you guys are like, okay, that's not too bad. You went from a 57% loss on average to a 10% gain. That's pretty good. And I do agree. But if you factor in fees and shipping, I actually lose around 4 to 5% per box if I were to liquidate them all at market price right now. So that is my worst performing investment in Pokemon by far. I expect that these boxes will actually do great in the coming year, but this year they ended up being my worst investment. Now, what was my best investment? Well, if we look at a single product, it would have to be the English 151 UPC. I actually gained 230% on my investment in these UPCs. I wish I bought more of these. I only ended up getting a couple of them, but the lowest priced one I got was $76.24. And if you're wondering, how did I actually get one at $76 when MSRP was at $120 and then they started shooting up in price? Well, in the spring, they actually didn't have crazy demand for them. They were selling below MSRP. And then there was some TikTok shop deal where UPCs were being promoted, and I managed to get a 25% off coupon, and it ended up being $76.24. I have another one at $79 and another one at $82. So pretty great prices for UPCs, especially when market price right now is around $250 for a single UPC. So that was my biggest gaining single product. Now, if we're talking about 151 across the board, my average growth was 97%. And this is because I was able to get stuff at MSRP without much issue. For my 40 151 booster bundles, I got them all at MSRP, but on different websites like Pokemon Center, Walmart, Target.com, and MSRP on those websites is slightly different. On the Pokemon Center, it's $26.94 per. Shipping's free, so you just pay taxes on top of that. Walmart is a little bit higher. I think it's 28 something. It might be, it fluctuates a little bit on walmart.com. I don't know the price off the top of my head. but my average cost for all my booster bundles after taxes, after shipping, all that stuff was $28.57. And market price right now is right around $58, $59 per booster bundle. So funnily enough, 151 was my worst investment in Japanese, but my best investment for the year in English. It's just how it works out sometimes. I can't really complain, honestly. And if I average the total amount of money I invested into 151, Japanese and English, I invested a little bit more in English. So my total ROI would be right around 52%. Now let's move on to the set that surprised me the most this year. And this is Obsidian Flames. I thought Obsidian Flames would be a decent long-term hold, specifically on the ETB side, because they have such a good promo card in that Charmander looking at the Pidgey. And then when the Squirtle and Bulbasaur, which are kind of its counterparts to make a set, came out with Stellar Crown, I expected that these ETBs would shoot up in value. I just didn't expect them to shoot up this much. My Obsidian Flames Pokemon Center ETB is shot up almost as much as the 151 UPC, right around 220% in value, which is also insane. I did not expect it to go that crazy, but my regular ETBs have gone up 70% in value. Now, this factors in shipping costs and fees on eBay and TCG Player, which for ETBs are heavy, so shipping is a little bit more expensive. So if I were to sell my Obsidian Flames ETBs, I'd only make 75% of what I actually sold them for. But I was able to get in on the hype for these ETBs before it went crazy. And TikTok Shop, again, always has my back. It's going to be a sad day when they get rid of TikTok and inevitably TikTok Shop. But my ETB average price was $26. So crazy good prices. And you may be wondering, why isn't Obsidian Flames my top percent gaining set? If the ETBs have gone up 70+%, the Pokemon Center ETBs gone up 200%. Well, the booster boxes haven't gone up as much. I did get some good deals. I got them well below $100, but the average percent gain for those was right around 43%. So when all averages out for Obsidian Flames, my percentage gain was 66%, which is really, really good. I did not expect Obsidian Flames to perform this well, especially not the booster box. I thought that was going to be just a really long-term hold and then maybe some people like it in the future. I expected it to be kind of like a Vivid Voltage, a Darkness Ablaze, or it's not really as bad as either of those sets, but I didn't expect it to have demand that would shoot its price up. Now we're going to move on to my favorite set, and this is Crown Zenith. How well did Crown Zenith do after I've been yelling about investing in it for the past, I don't know, 6-7 months? Well, for my ETBs, my average price per is $35.13, which in my opinion is not too shabby. I did get in at a good time. They were reprinted pretty heavily in the winter/late fall of last year, and I managed to pick up a bunch of them at good prices. Market value right now is right around $70 to $72. And that average percentage gain after you factor in fees and stuff like that is kind of close to around 80%, which is pretty darn good. And I don't think it's stopping at $70 in ETB. I think next year, these ones will end up maybe at $120, $130 per ETB. I think they can make it to where 151 ETBs and Prismatic Evolutions ETBs are right now. I don't think they'll be $200, $250 ETBs by any means, but I think these are going to be pretty expensive, but will always be eclipsed by 151 and Prismatic Evolutions. Now, the Crown Zenith product that has actually performed the worst for me is actually one I bought like 2 months ago, and these are the Crown Zenith booster bundles. These have gone up 53% since I bought them, so if you're calculating in the amount of time it's been, where it's only been 2 months and market value is 53% higher, they've done outstanding, but we're just looking at the year as a whole, and we're not taking into account when I bought them. However, I anticipate them doing extremely well in the future, and I can see these being $50 to $60 booster bundles down the line. Overall, my average percentage gain for Crown Zenith on the year is 70%, which is also really good. So far, we've really been swinging for the fences, and the last set that I want to cover in this video before I stop it short is Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike is going parabolic right now, and it might retrace down the line, but right now it's bonkers. Demand is through the roof. It looks like Surging Sparks a month ago. The booster boxes have gone up to $377 per, which in the last month, that's around a 55% gain. They were sitting pretty flat, right around 200 to 240, and then all of a sudden, in the span of basically 1 month, they go up 50%. Is this an orchestrated buyout? Was the floor of the market just that weak? We don't really know. I'm leaning towards the latter, where the floor was weak, but prices are going crazy for Fusion Strike. Now, what does that mean for me, and how well have my products done for the year? Well, I'm sitting around a 77% gain for Fusion Strike on the year, and a lot of it has come in the past 2 weeks, which completely random. I would not have predicted Fusion Strike going absolutely crazy these past 2 weeks. If I made this video like 3 weeks prior, Fusion Strike would be a decent but not amazing investment on the year for me, but I don't know. It's been insane. Even the Pokemon Center ETBs are going crazy. They're over $100 right now. And if you've been watching this long, I'll give you a little tidbit of info, which I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, but there are some Pokemon Center ETBs that are still on stock on the Pokemon Center website. The Astral Radiance ones, which don't come with a promo card, they just have a really cool alternate artwork of the regular ETB, similar to the Fusion Strike ones, which have done pretty well this year, I'd say. Around a 90% gain for me on the year, and I bought them at MSRP like a couple of months ago. And then Shrouded Fable Pokemon Center ETBs, and Shrouded Fable isn't a super demanded set, but there's a craze for Pokemon Center ETBs, stamp promos are in, people love them, so I think even though it's Shrouded Fable, it's still probably a good investment. And the other important thing to note with Pokemon Center ETBs is once they're out of stock, they're gone. That is it. They don't restock them down the line, they just sell out and that's it. So overall, how have my Pokemon investments performed year to date, and did I beat out the S&P 500? Well, drumroll please. My Pokemon investment year-to-date growth, after subtracting shipping fees, after subtracting eBay fees or TCG player fees, is 52.54%, which, if I do say so myself, is pretty dang good. But how well did the S&P 500 do this year? Well, if we look it up, year-to-date, we're sitting at a 24.54% growth year-to-date for the S&P 500. So we basically doubled the growth of the S&P 500, but this takes a lot more work. Do I think this is worth it? Do I think investing in Pokemon is worth it? Absolutely, if you're a fan of Pokemon. I'm a big fan of Pokemon. I have all this stuff behind me. And that's one of the great things about this, is I get to have all of this stuff that I like to have. But is this something I'd get into if I wasn't a massive Pokemon fan? Absolutely not. There's no chance I would get into Pokemon investing if I wasn't a huge fan of Pokemon. And there's many reasons for this, but there's lots of hours spent shipping, packaging, doing all of this stuff, and looking for deals as well. And if either of those things don't deter you from investing in Pokemon, well, consider subscribing. I put out Pokemon investing content every 2 to 3 days, updates on the market, cards, any moves I see. And I want to say I'm so grateful for all of you guys that have subscribed. I just started this channel this year, so getting 1,600 subscribers was way beyond what I thought. My goal was 1,000 in 1 year, and in 8 months, we've already smashed that. So thank you guys so much. That's all I got for today. And as always, stay safe out there.